Our next speaker is Clint Burnham, whose presentation examines, or is entitled, "We Don't Know What We Want When We Are on the Internet, and That's Okay." Clint is a professor in the Department of English, and he's currently the chair of the SFU English graduate program. He's also written over a dozen books. Where do you get the time? His latest scholarly book is titled, "Does the Internet Have an Unconscious? Slavoj Žižek and Digital Culture." Clint has remarkable research interest in cultural studies, contemporary poetry, and theory. Let us welcome Clint.
Thank you, Joy. So my name is Clint Burnham. I teach in the English department at SFU, where I work in cultural studies, and specifically on psychoanalysis. In my latest book, Does the Internet Have an Unconscious?, my argument is that not only do we need psychoanalysis to understand the internet, but also that the internet can help us understand our deepest fantasies and anxieties. I argue that our anxieties about clickbait, fake news, and spam are not only about digital media, but also about our own personal wishes, desires, hopes, and fears. What I want to do here is to navigate between internet phobia, which is often just a kind of generational or anti-millennial racism, and digital philia, loving it too much. Between seeing our interactions on the social media as a matter of the empiricism of machine learning, I don't love big data, and seeing it as a nefarious attempt by the internet to control us, or what I call left Trumpism. I want to counter the exceptionalist rhetoric by which internet and digital culture is presumed to be fundamentally different from, and usually worse than, other or analog forms of media. So-called fake news is postmodernism 2.0, what Jean-François Lyotard called a suspicion towards grand narratives of truth, progress, and enlightenment. As Nietzsche said, there are no facts, only interpretations. I don't think Trump has read him, though. Fake news is a symptom of revolt. Consider the Italian phrase che vuoi, or what do you want? The internet shows us what the psychoanalytic theories of Jacques Lacan, Slavoj Žižek, and Alenka Zupancic tell us, that our desire is always wrapped up in the desire of the other. This is what is so liberating and terrifying about algorithms. Those machinic codes that suggest books or movies to us are terrifying not so much when they are wrong as when they are right. Then again, when we see someone texting, this also troubles us, because we are confronted with the abyss of desire in the other. This bothers us because we don't know what we want. Those teenagers always on their phones, those damn millennials. Also an example of intergenerational angst. My parents worried in the 1970s that I watched TV too much. Go outside, they would say. We say the same thing today about kids. And then when they do Pokemon Go or do it for the gram, people again object that they're going outside in the wrong way. So these are moral panics, like rock and roll in the 1950s, heavy metal or rap in the 1980s, or believe it or not, in the 19th century, parents worried about their children reading novels. Or consider distracted driving or texting while driving. The real problem, I would argue, is not people texting while they drive. The problem is that people drive while they text. That is, texting is a way to keep in contact, but if you look at somebody, if they're texting and driving, the problem is there's only one person in the car. So we have this passionate attachment to our phones. Why else do we get phantom texts that vibrate? Why do we think we feel it? Think of the phone as an object. We keep it near our genitals, our wallet, in our purse. It's like sex or money. So when we send texts, it's already intimate. It's easy to do. We can do it from anywhere. And it's the same thing as when we receive them. They grab us by our lack. I remember reading an account of torture during the Arab Spring while at my son's soccer game in early 2011. Why was I looking at my phone? What kind of horror was I encountering? And the same thing again as well for social media. The ease of sending and receiving is what troubles us. All texting, I argued in an article last fall in The Conversation, all texting is sexting. That is, all communication is asking the other to love us. Think of the heart in Instagram. I feel weird when I heart one of my students' posts. Or the ambiguity of what some call aggressive liking in social media. We are told that millennials are a distracted generation, but here again we should think about what distraction means. 1 minute left, great. Think about it dialectically as the 1930s Marxist Walter Benjamin, who said that architecture is best appreciated in a state of distraction. Benjamin pointed out that the way we think of how we think that marginalized people, he meant workers, today we would say teenagers, are easily distracted, as opposed to we mature adults who can concentrate. Obviously, this is a spurious argument. The UBC art historian Jaleh Mansour makes the more generous and convincing argument, but also more scary, that the distractions of social media actually renew us to return to work. Thank you very much.